Hi, how are you doing? This is IBM-i By Doing. Welcome to IBM-i By Doing, a series of video sessions in which we do hands-on projects programming the IBM-i Midrange computer. I'm Madhu Vasudevan with over 20 years of IBM-i work experience at your service. The target audience is newbie programmers who want to learn RPG4 or RPG ILE on IBM-i. We will mount our RPG bikes right on top of the Subfile hill and slide down the valley of data file processing in RPG4 ILE. Just follow along. Working along with me, you will be able to do this. Early in this series, we will tackle the fabled RPG subfile, and we will create every possible variation of the subfile. We will create physical files, logical files, display files, printer files, and of course the RPG ILE programs to handle all these files. We will create some information display screens, some data entry screens, and generate some reports. Our subfile inquiry program will allow muggles to look up multiple train records in one screen. The search screen will accept a center name as input. After entering a center name, the muggle will press the enter key. Our program will pull up one page full of records of trains going to that center. If the muggle hits the enter key without inputting a center name, our program will pull up one page full of records of trains going to any and all the centers sorted alphabetically. If more is shown at the bottom and the muggle hits page down key, our program will pull up the next page of train records. From any page, user can press page up key, then our program will pull up the previous page of train records. This process can be continued until all requested data records have been viewed as subfile pages. After the last requested record has been loaded to the subfile, bottom will show at the bottom of the last page. If user presses page down key when bottom is shown, error message is shown and keyboard is locked. Finally, F3 may be pressed to quit the inquiry program and end the inquiry session. The city-wise trains information may be viewed by directly querying the physical file. We will run the query command on the physical file train set with the record select parameter set to view the records for specific centers. We will thus verify that our inquiry subfile is indeed working correctly. To keep me motivated to produce more and even better quality free content, please subscribe to this channel. Hit the like button below, leave a comment or two, and share this video with your colleagues, friends, and other IBM-i enthusiasts. Hit the bell icon below to actively follow along with the rest of our series. Having created a display file with a subfile for inquiring on the train's information, let's create an inquiry single-page subfile program. And we are done with the program. So save it, Ctrl S one more time, page up and review your code for any missing semicolons or other obvious syntax errors. Review the header lines or control options. Review the file declarations. Review the indicators data structure. Review the main program logic. Review the check center subroutine. Review the clear subfile subroutine. Review the load subfile subroutine. Review the rewind subroutine. And review the read forward and read backward subroutines. Press Ctrl E to bring up the executables pop-up. Choose command create bound RPG to compile the code. And we have success. Open the pop-up message in the right bottom. And note that the command create bound RPG created the program object train SFL3 in your project library. You may close the pop-up. If you have errors, you can look at the compiler listing from within Visual Studio Code. This option has been shown in our data entry subfile program hands-on video. The link to our RPG hands-on playlist is in this video's description. You can look at the compiler output by clicking on the Output button in Visual Studio Code's bottom bar and scroll through the compiler output. At the very bottom, note that you have 0 errors. Note the creation of the program object in your project library and close the output panel. Close the member edit window, train SFL3. From the main menu, click on File and Exit to close Visual Studio Code. Launch the Client 5250 emulator. If you just signed into IBMi, remember to do the 2 things. Change current library to your project library and hit Enter. And to ensure that the dot is your decimal point symbol, run the command change job decimal format within brackets *blank and hit Enter. From the command line, key in the command work member PDM and hit Enter. Ensure that the file opened is QRPGLE src and the library shows your project library and hit Enter. Note that the newly added member train SFL3 does not yet have a text description. To change text, key in 13 against the member name and hit Enter. Key in the text single page only inquiry subfile within brackets subfile size equals subfile page and hit Enter. Against the program source member train SFL3, key in a 2 and hit Enter. We can edit our subfile inquiry program. However, SEU cannot understand control options or any of the declarations either, but it can understand the CSpec or calculation lines coded in free format between columns 8 through 80. Review your indicators data structure, review your program logic, review your subroutine check center, review clear subfile subroutine, review load subfile subroutine, review rewind subroutine, all 3 pieces of it, review the read forward subroutine and the read backward subroutine. Let's delete the unnecessary lines in the bottom with the DD command and hit Enter. Press F3 to exit SEU. Change create member, say yes. Ensure that return to editing is no and hit Enter. So we have changed train SFL3 in SEU. You have to compile this member to create the program object called train SFL3, which will be called by the muggles to look up trains information. Note that for successful compilation, the compiler will need to reference the logical file object transitl and the display file object trainQ3, since both these external file objects are referenced by the program code. Hence, make sure that your project library is your current library before you compile the program member train SFL3. From the command line, key in the command dsplibl for display library list and hit Enter. Ensure that your project library, in my case my second library, is the current library and press F3 to exit the display. To compile this member train SFL3 into a program object of the same name from PDM screen, type 14 against the member and hit enter. You are prompted if you want to delete the existing program object. This is because you had already compiled the source code through Visual Studio Code. Say yes, Y for yes, and hit enter. The create bound RPG program command compiles the source member and creates the program object of the same name in your current library, which is your project library. You should see the file created success message in the bottom. Press F3 till you're back in the main menu. Check on your program object. Key in the command display lib, your project library, and hit enter. You should see the program object train SFL3. F3 out of the display. Key in the command dspPGM, your project library / train SFL3, and hit enter. Scroll through the train SFL3 program object description. And F3 out of the display. Key in the command display program reference, your project library / train SFL3, and hit enter. Scroll through the list of objects program train SFL3 refers to. Note that logical file transit_L and page down. Display file trainQ3 are listed. Their record format level IDs of both the files are captured within the program object. Hence, if structural changes are made to either the logical or the display file, program object train SFL3 needs to be recreated by recompilation. F3 out of the display. Having created an inquiry single-page subfile program, let us run the inquiry single-page subfile program. From the IBMi command line, key in, call your project library / train SFL3, uppercase, lowercase, or mixed case doesn't matter, and hit enter. In the initial inquiry screen, enter center LOSANG for Los Angeles and hit enter. Note that only trains for the city of Los Angeles are listed, ordered by the train numbers. Note the bottom message at the bottom of the screen to signify that all records, all trains for Los Angeles are shown. Press F12 to return to the inquiry screen. In the inquiry screen, enter the center Boston and hit enter. Note that only trains for the city of Boston are listed, ordered by the train numbers. At any time, press F3 to exit the inquiry subfile program. To call the program from within PDM, key in the command strpdm and hit enter. To work with members, key in a 3 and hit enter. Ensure that the file to open is QRPGLE src and the library shows your project library and hit enter. Against the member name train SFL3, key in the command shortcut C for call and hit enter. In the initial inquiry screen, enter the center LONDON and hit enter. Note the center not found error message at the bottom. Also note that your keyboard is locked by the error message. Release the keyboard by pressing the Control key. In the inquiry screen, blank out the center input field using the field exit key and hit enter. Note that all trains for all centers are listed alphabetically, and within each city, trains are listed ordered by train numbers. Press page down. Note the top center and train number, Chicago T0103. Also note the last center and train number, Los Angeles T1102. Press the page down key to view the next page of trains information. Now you have on top Los Angeles T1107 and in the bottom Washington T1010. Press the page up key to review the previous page of trains information, and sure enough, on top you have Chicago T0103 and, like last time, Los Angeles T1102 in the bottom. That is, the center and train number on top and bottom are the same as we previously noted. Our read forward and rewind logic is working flawlessly. Press page down until you are in the last page. Note the message in the bottom which says bottom for end of file. Press page down and your keyboard is locked with the error message, function key not allowed. Press Ctrl key to release the keyboard and press page up to visit the previous page, page down, and you see the last two lines again. At any time, press F3 to exit the Inquiry Subfile program. Press F3 till you are back in the main menu of IBMi. Minimize this terminal emulation window. Having run the Inquiry single-page subfile program, let's query the train's physical file to verify the Inquiry program output. Launch a second instance of the terminal emulation program TN5250. Sign on to the IBMi to start a new session. Note the message that this is your second session and hit enter. Expand the window to full screen. As always, ensure that you are working on your project library. Key in the command, change current library, your project library, and hit enter. Ensure that your decimal point is a dot and not the comma. So key in the command, change job, decimal format, within bracket, star blank, and hit enter. From the IBMi command line, run the command work query and hit enter. In the work with queries command screen, tab over to library and enter your project library name. Press shift tab to move cursor to query field. Take an F4. In the work with queries screen, the list of query file objects in your library is shown. Note that trainsetQY, which we created in our load all inquiry subfile hands-on session, is also listed. Against the query trainsetQY, key in a 2 to change and hit enter. In the define query screen, note that options specify file selections, select and sequence fields, select sort fields, and specify report column formatting have already been specified. Review our load all inquiry subfile hands-on session video. A link to our RPG4 playlist is available in this video's description. In the define query screen, select the query option to select records by keying in a 1 and hit enter. In the select records screen, under field, key in center, tab over, under test, key in EQ for equals, tab over, under value, key in within quotes CHICAG and hit enter. From the define query screen, to run the report, press F5, press the Windows key and the left arrow key to position this query report window to the left half of the monitor. We need to compare this report on trains to Chicago extracted from the train's physical file to our inquiry subfile program output for center input CHICAG, that is Chicago. Press Alt plus Tab to open the previously started IBMi session window. Ensure that you are in the main menu with command line. As always, ensure that you're working on your project library. Key in the command, change current library to your project library and hit enter. Ensure that your decimal point is a dot and not a comma. Key in the command, change job, decimal format within brackets, star blank and hit enter. Call your single page subfile inquiry program. Key in, call your project library /train SFL3 and hit enter. In the inquiry screen, enter the center CHICAG for Chicago and hit enter. Press the Windows key and the right arrow key to position this program output window to the right half of the monitor. Compare your program output on the right side to the query report on the left side. If LHS equals RHS, we have QED. In the query report window, press F12 to exit the report. In the Define Query screen, select Query option to select records by keying in a 1 and hit enter. In the Select Record screen, edit the selection criteria. Tab over to the Test column. Under Test, key in NE for not equal. Tab over. Under Value, delete the letters between the quotation marks and hit enter. From Define Query screen, to run the report for all centers, press F5. Roll up. Note the order of the cities listed. Roll up. In your Inquiry Subfile program window, press F12 to return to the inquiry screen. Blank out the center input field with the field exit key and hit enter. Compare the cities, train numbers and their order in your program output window in the right to the query output on the left window. Run a few more comparisons by changing the center in both the windows. When done, in the query output window, maximize the window by pressing the Windows key and up arrow. Press F3 to exit the query display. Press F3 again to exit the query. In Exit this query screen, for save definition, press Y for yes. For run option, press 3 to not run the query after exiting. Also ensure that query name is trainsetQY. We will be using this query for testing and verification of other subfile inquiry programs and report programs that we will be coding in future hands-on sessions. Ensure the library listed is your project library and hit enter. Press F3 to return to the main menu. You may sign off your IBMi session. Press Alt-Tab to switch to your other IBMi session. Press the Windows and up arrow key, F3 out of your program, and press 90 to sign off this second session also. Close all windows. Congratulations! As you can see, we have successfully marked all our milestones of our project list. We reviewed our logical file to access trains information city-wise. We created a display file with a subfile for inquiring on the train's information by showing a request screen. We created an inquiry single-page subfile program to pull up the train's information by inputting the city name. We ran the inquiry subfile program for specific cities and for all cities. And finally, we ran queries against the train's physical file to verify the output from our inquiry subfile program. For an up-and-coming crossing guard, you are levitating with flying colors. The muggles in the PTA, the Parents Teachers Association, are at last satisfied. Now that the train's inquiry program is efficient and future-proof, Muggle volunteers are signing up in large numbers to do the data entry of trains and their destinations. During long sessions of heads-down data entry, the Muggle volunteers are also inadvertently, of course, keying in errors. Besides, train schedules and train tickets prices are frequently changing. For the next set of videos, you want to make your data entry subfile program capable of editing, updating and correcting the train's information already keyed in. A shout out to J.K. Rowling and the Harry Potter fandom for fueling our imagination and providing all the data. To keep me motivated to produce more and even better quality free content, please subscribe to this channel. Hit the like button below, leave a comment or two, and share this video with your colleagues, friends, and other IBMi enthusiasts. Thanks for watching. Until our next hands-on session, this is Madhu Vasudevan wishing you a very happy IBMi by Doing. Stay tuned and hit the bell icon below to be notified of my latest and greatest project videos.